Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Everything You Need to Know About Staking, Volume 2. We did a workshop similar to this back in February. There have been some changes to staking in Moonbeam since then. There have also been some new ways to stake, particularly mobile wallets, as well as wallets on Chrome extensions. So similar to MetaMask, additionally Wallet Connect, and there's a lot to go through. So we're not going to be demonstrating every sort of way you can stake, but what we will be covering in this workshop is how to stake, as well as an introduction, a comprehensive introduction to just about everything you need to know. So we'll go over all the particulars of how to choose a collator, how to manage your stake, how to track it, how to increase your stake, decrease your stake, stop staking. We'll cover all of these details. And this is meant to be, a fun, hands-on, but also interactive workshop. So ask any questions that you have. I'm going to be pausing and taking breaks, periodically. So I'll stop and I'll look for questions in the chat. You can ask them on the right-hand side, also in the Ask a Question box, and they can also get upvoted there. So that could be a good place. So very excited to have this second version 2. And I'm going to start with just a quick introduction to staking. And then we'll get right into more of the mechanics and things like that. But I wanted to start with just a quick background on how staking works. And so I already talked about kind of the overview of what we'll talk about and questions, so you can skip the slide. But just a quick reminder to add any questions that you have to Crowdcast. So let's start with what a collator is and what staking represents, as well as what a validator is. So that's a lot of terms that I just threw out. So let's break it down a little bit. Collators are block producers that collect transactions from the Moonbeam network. They package them into blocks, and then they present them to the relay chain for finalization. So Polkadot's relay chain has a series of node operators called validators. So we never use the term validator when we refer to Moonbeam, because we're referring to validators on the Polkadot relay chain. So these relay chain validators will verify that the blocks presented to them from the collators on Moonbeam are valid, and they will package that into a block. And there's some information such as a hash that gets included. And they do this for all the other parachains as well. So it's not just Moonbeam's blocks that are finalized, but the blocks of every other parachain that's on the relay chain. So this session, we're going to be speaking about collators on Moonbeam. And I just wanted to kind of position them and kind of show where we exist in the greater scheme of things. So collators play a very important role on Moonbeam. They're responsible for taking all of the transactions and packaging them into blocks. And then again, these blocks will eventually get presented, to the Polkadot relay chain for finalization. So one of the most powerful things, of Polkadot's shared security model is that the security for all these different parachains come from the relay chain, and the relay chain has a greater economic backing of stake than any single parachain. So that's quite a powerful topic to think about. But being a collator is an extremely important role, and I wanted to get into a little bit of specifics of how the collators do this. So Moonbeam's parachain staking palette was actually a custom designed palette. So when you're building a blockchain with Substrate, you could choose the democracy palette, and you can choose an EVM component. You can choose all these different components. But we actually built our own custom staking palette from scratch, which was completely new. And it was designed in a way to align the interests of collators and delegators. Want to make sure that the collators are on the same page as delegators, and that they have the same economic interests, and that those economic interests are shared. So delegators want their collators to do well, collators want their delegators to do well, and so everybody's happy. it is a professional responsibility. So running a node as a collator is not something that you do just for fun and you kind of like periodically do it and you turn it on and turn it off. It is not that at all. It's a very serious professional responsibility. You can think of it as the equivalent of a job. And in some cases, it's pretty much almost like a very serious, almost a full-time job. And so several collators have people helping them. They have either community members or they have members helping with support or marketing or things like that, because it's not just about running a node, but it's about representing your collator's brand as well to the community so that they know that they have the option of staking with you. So that's a very important component. And there's a lot of infrastructure and planning that goes into a collator setup, and that includes things like alerting, monitoring, backup, and resiliency. So every collator should have a backup node, at least one backup in a different data center, but it's something that stays completely ready to go at any given point, so that if there was some sort of issue with the existing one, the collator can very easily switch over to this backup node. There is a fixed collator commission of 20% of rewards. This is not something that can be changed by a collator. This is something that's set by the protocol, and it could be modified at some point in the future by governance, but it's not something that can be tweaked by an individual collator. So that collator commission is meant to go towards the collator's infrastructure costs, their engineering, again, the support costs and things like that. And it's just 20% of the rewards. It's not 20% of the total amount that you stake. It's not 20% of your principal balance or anything like that. It's, let's say that you earn 10 Glimmer, or let's say that you would earn 10 Glimmer, then 2 Glimmer from that 10 goes to the collator. A very important question that we're going to really dive into here is, what is the minimum bond amount? And there are really two factors to keep in mind here. So one is a protocol minimum, and this is a value that's set at a protocol level. So for Moonbeam, it's 50 Glimmer, and for Moonriver, it's 5 Mover. So this is a technical lower bound, right? In real life, the minimum is actually a bit different. And what I mean by that is that there's a limited number of delegators per collator. There can be a maximum of 300. So 300 delegators per collator can be active and receiving rewards. And because of that, this creates a dynamic minimum where if you want to bond to a collator and start earning rewards right away, you would have to meet the dynamic minimum that's displayed for that particular collator. Okay, that's a very important distinction, that this number is dynamic and it's different for each collator. So we'll look at exactly what that means, and you'll see an example of what I mean by this. But for the collator with the lowest minimum bond amount, that one is 183 Glimmer, and that's just for if you wanted to start earning rewards for that collator. If you look at a different collator, they'll have a different minimum bond, and this is a number that's changing all the time. And it's not a hard and fast rule. This is just an estimate, to give you a sense of what you would need to bond in order to be earning rewards right away. In Moonriver, there's a bit more flexibility. So the protocol minimum is 5 Mover, but due to the way due to the amount of delegators per collator, most of them have less than 300 delegators. A few of them have 300 and a little bit more, but most of them are less than 300. So that means that in Moonriver, you can pick a collator, and as long as their minimum bond is 5 Mover, then you don't have to worry about meeting a different number. The protocol minimum essentially matches the amount that you would need to stake in order to start earning rewards right away. And the asterisk here is that this dynamic minimum number is always changing, and it's just an estimate. So that concludes just the quick little introduction. I have a lot of hands-on demo components that I'd like to take a look at. And I'm just going to pause for any questions. Okay, cool. Sorry if there were any lags. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, we will have this available on the YouTube channel for Moonbeam Network. It'll be available here on Crowdcast immediately after, and then it'll be available on YouTube, within the next couple of days. You can also try closing out and reloading, maybe joining from a different browser. That does tend to work sometimes. Okay, so as we talk about the nature of staking and things like that, I did have one quick explainer or just kind of addendum, is that this Crowdcast is focused exclusively on native protocol staking of Glimmer and Mover. So we'll be focused on the technical and operational aspects of staking, and we are unable to provide any sort of financial related advice. There are other protocols and dApps, DeFi protocols, and many different applications where you could stake your Glimmer or your Mover. But those are DeFi applications, and we're not going to be addressing those. Instead, we're just going to be focused on the native protocol staking. So with that being said, we spoke about the roles and responsibilities of what a collator's job is. We spoke about how it's a full-time job. And I do want to talk about some important components, maybe clarify any questions or anything like that. So one thing to keep in mind is that a collator can never take your funds. A collator never has access to your funds. When you are delegating to a collator, you're essentially giving them a voice of support, and that increases the total amount that they have amassed in terms of delegations, but they never have control of your assets at any point in time. So those assets that you stake, they remain locked, but the collator never has access to your funds and they can never take them. I mentioned that the collators don't set the commission rate, so we already covered that. But another point that I wanted to mention is that Moonbeam and Moonriver are decentralized. There is no gatekeeper. There's no application process to join the collator pool. We do have an informational survey, which if you're a collator, you can fill out, and you can provide contact information, and we can help you notify you in case we see any issues with your collator. So that's helpful. But it is not some sort of application process where the collator pool is guarded or something like that. It is decentralized, and that means that anybody who submits the appropriate bond and properly sets up their collator node can become a collator candidate. In terms of the minimums for becoming a collator candidate, the minimum for Moonbeam is 100,000 Glimmer. The minimum for Moonriver is 500 Mover. And there's also an author mapping where you have to submit a small bond in order to establish basically connect the account that you've registered as your collator candidate to your actual node. And so that costs about 10,000 Glimmer on Moonbeam, and it costs a small amount of Moonriver on the Moonriver network. So just to go over those details. We're going to go through the process of delegating and choosing a collator and all that. And so I just spoke about the minimum delegation amount and the fact that it's a dynamic number. But let's talk a little bit more about this top 300 delegators per collator. And in order to do that, let's go ahead and actually look at Moonbeam. So I'm going to share my screen in just 1 second. Okay, so let me go ahead and share. Cool. So I'm here on apps.moonbeam.network/moonbeam, and I'm going to go to Manage Delegations and select a collator. And we can see here we have a number of different collators. And we can see a lot of different information here. So let's just quickly go through this and cover the basics. So we have a collator here. And if you hover over it, you can see the collator's address. Now, many collators choose to set an identity. This is not a verified identity. You can set your identity to anything that you'd like. So you do have to do your own research. But it is important for collators to be able to identify themselves so that folks can easily remember what their collator is. And if you wanted to copy this address, you can just press the copy button right here. You can see a self-bonded amount. In this case, this one has 100,000 Glimmer as a self-bond. You'll see some which display 10,000 Glimmer. And you might say, Kevin, you just said that the minimum bond was 100,000 Glimmer. Why does this one collator, or why do some have 10,000 minimum ones? And that's because during the launch of the Moonbeam network, there were a few collators which participated in a pilot program in terms of testing their robustness, testing their statistics. And as part of this pilot program, they were onboarded onto Moonbeam, producing blocks as part of this program. And part of the program included a lower self-bonded amount. But the important number here that you're probably going to want to pay attention to is effective bonded amount, or effective amount bonded. So let's break down. What does this mean? Effective amount bonded includes all of the delegators which have staked to this collator, which are counted. So that means the top 300 delegators for this particular collator. So in this case, this collator has 343 delegations. And this effective bonded amount only considers the top 300 delegations. So that's where that amount comes from. If you are a delegator beyond the 300 amount, you will still be bonded to that collator. If you are less than 350 collator delegator spots. So let me clarify a little bit. If you are in spots 301 to 350, you would remain bonded to this collator, but you won't be earning any rewards. This is kind of a buffer zone, such that shifts happen all the time, right? People are constantly adding stake or removing stake. And so we didn't want to have a position where somebody was the 300th delegator, and then they got bumped out to 301, right? And then 2 hours later, they got bumped back in, right? And that's just too much shifting. So within a small buffer zone, if you're a delegator 301 to 350 by determined by the size of your delegation, you remain bonded to this particular collator, but you won't be earning any rewards. If you get bumped out beyond that, so let's say you get you're at 350 and then you drop down, you will be automatically revoked. So your bond will automatically be revoked, and you would no longer be attached to that collator. And so if you wanted to earn rewards again, you would have to either choose a different collator or add additional stake. But regardless, you'd have to go through that process of restaking and manually going in and initiating another stake. We also see a minimum bond amount here. So I think I discussed a little bit the minimum bond amount already. So you can see that displayed for each particular collator, and it's different for each one. So as a quick example, I wanted to find the one that was the lowest. Where's the lowest one? There was one that was 180. There it is, 182.31 Glimmer. I just wanted to emphasize this point a little bit. If you were to bond to this collator, you would, and you wanted to earn rewards right away, you would have to bond at least 182.31 Glimmer. But if you were to just look at that number and then arbitrarily pick another collator, well, another collator is going to have a different minimum bond. Oh, actually, excuse me. I prepared some notes on this, and the collator set has changed a little bit this morning already. So the minimum bond is actually 50 Glimmer because 2 new collators just joined the set. So it's actually not 182.31 Glimmer, but it's 50 Glimmer. So if you were to choose this collator, you could be earning rewards with a minimum bond of 50 Glimmer. So I apologize for that. The collator set changed, and I prepared some notes yesterday. So it is 50, but remember, this changes all the time. So it may be 50 today. Tomorrow it may be different. So just something to keep in mind. You can also see a list of the blocks produced last round. So this metric is maybe not as important anymore. In the early days, of Moonbeam and Moonriver, there may have been some more variation with this number. And this number could vary based on a couple different things, such as what performance hardware is the collator running, where is their server located geographically, is it close to other collators? And now, pretty much all collators are running very, very top tier, top of the line server architecture. And so these blocks produced last round, these are going to vary randomly, but you don't need to consider blocks produced last round typically when you are choosing a collator. You may see a blocks produced last round of 0, and this most likely means that this collator was in the waiting pool, and it has moved back into the active pool. So this is a good point to talk about the waiting pool. We've been looking at the active pool thus far, and let's now consider the waiting pool. So there are a limited number of collators who can be in the active set at any given time. On Moonbeam, it is 64 collators, and on Moonriver, it's currently 72 collators. And the set gradually, over time, tends to increase a bit. If you're a collator in the waiting pool, you'll not be earning rewards, and anybody delegated to you will not be earning rewards. If you are at the top of the waiting pool, you're typically going to be shifting around with the bottom of the active pool whenever there's a round change. So a round change happens approximately every 6 hours or so in Moonbeam. And then on Moonriver, it's approximately every 2 hours or so. And so what do I say? What do I mean when I say there's a shift that could happen? Well, depending upon the effective bonded amount here, you might see a collator in the waiting pool, which has, you can see the amount here of the collator at the bottom of the active pool, 2,005,000 is pretty close to this one. So if one of these collators amassed some more delegations, let's say this one right here got to 2,006,000 Glimmer, right? And this collator did not amass any more during that round change. Well, then the collator that's here in the active pool, 255, would get bumped to the waiting pool, and the one at the top of the waiting pool would get bumped into the active pool. So we do see a lot of shifting that happens in Moonbeam, a little bit less so on Moonriver. A couple of reasons why you might consider bonding to a collator in the waiting pool. There are a couple of reasons why you might consider doing that. One is that you want to support a collator that's making a bid for the active pool. And this collator might be marketing themselves, and they might be having delegators join in. And this might make the most sense before a proposed increase in the collator pool, which does happen, from time to time. So that's reason number one. Reason number two might be that your collator was in the active pool and it's just temporarily in the waiting pool. That's another possibility as well. And so while your collator's in the waiting pool, it might not make sense for you to try to unbond and then wait for the exit delay period, which we'll discuss a little bit more. And so you might be perfectly fine with sitting in the waiting pool for just a little bit. And as a reminder, you don't earn any rewards while you're in the waiting pool. So something I'll point out here is that you can see blocks produced last round, 0, 0, 0, but you can see a couple that produced blocks in the last round. So this one, 255 DAO, was in the active pool during the last round, and it was producing a number of blocks. So you can see how this shift occurs. Okay, let me keep. I have a couple notes that I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. And if anybody has any questions, please go ahead and ask them in the chat. Sarah has a question. Why does the minimum staking required, why does it keep changing on the Nova Wallet collators? Great question. So Nova Wallet is most likely displaying the dynamic minimum bond amount that I was discussing. And that number changes, all the time. So Nova Wallet, they want to make sure that you earn rewards. And so the number that they're going to be displaying is this actively, dynamic number. And so that changes all the time. Okay, so let's go through some scenarios on Moonbase Alpha. I'm going to do a demo on Moonriver, but I just wanted to let's do the Moonriver demo first, and then I'll go to Moonbase Alpha and I'll show some of these scenarios. So I'm going to switch to Moonriver. And you can't see my MetaMask, I don't think, but all I was doing in MetaMask was switching the network to Moonriver. Okay, so I've got a balance of 5.2 Moonriver, which is above the minimum stake amount. And I'm going to head down. So just so everybody can see, we're here on apps.moonbeam.network/Moonriver. And if you want to switch networks, just press any of these networks here at the top, and you'll be prompted to switch the network in your MetaMask. So apps.moonbeam.network is a hub for managing many different things. It's a hub for managing your cross-chain assets. It's a hub for managing your staking. It now includes governance, so you can check up on proposals and vote. So it includes a lot of different things. You can also claim your crowd loan rewards. But if you scroll down, we're going to go to Manage Delegations. And we're going to choose a collator to bond to. And with Moonriver, it's easy because the minimum bond is typically, for most collators, except for Mooverians, it looks like the minimum bond is going to be the same as the protocol minimum. So we can pick any collator here that we'd like to bond to. And let's say I choose Moonriver Orbiter Pool 04. I'll go ahead and select this collator, and I'll choose the amount that I'd like to bond. You could say 5.1, for example, and then we'll press delegate. And MetaMask is popping up, and I'm just confirming a transaction in MetaMask. And we can press here, View Transaction in Explorer, if we want to check on the status of the transaction. It should be confirmed in just a couple seconds. Okay, and our transaction is confirmed. And we can see that our stake here displays the collator name as well as the amount that we have bonded. So I have a couple different scenarios that I wanted to show you. And I have this in Moonbase Alpha just for simplicity so that I can easily set up a bunch of different scenarios. So I'm going to switch over to Moonbase Alpha. And let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so here in Moonbase Alpha, just going to zoom in a tad. Okay. Cool. So I have a bunch of different delegations here in Moonbase Alpha. And I want to show you a couple of the issues that you might run into or sort of edge cases around staking. So I have a bunch of delegations, but a couple here are displayed in red. So why are they displayed in red? So if you hover over the delegation that's displayed in red, in this case, unbonded to a collator candidate that's currently in the waiting pool. So I'm not earning any rewards because this collator candidate is in the waiting pool. Even if I was to increase my staking amount, unless that were to bring the collator into the active pool, I would still be not earning rewards. In another case here, I have a delegation where I'm also not earning rewards, and so this is displayed in red. But this is not because the collator's in the waiting pool. This collator is actually in the active pool, but it's because my minimum bond is below that dynamic minimum for this particular collator. So I am delegating to dev for Moonbase Alpha, and the collator's minimum is actually 5.01 if I wanted to earn rewards. So I can just go ahead and increase this to resolve it, and I can increase my bond up to at least 5.01, and I'll start earning rewards. So that's easy to take care of. I wanted to demonstrate the process for what it'd be like to both add more stake and also reduce your stake, and how this process sort of works as a whole. So let's say we first wanted to increase our stake. I can just enter the amount that I'd like to bond more. So let's say I want to bond 10 more, and go ahead and press send. MetaMask is going to pop up, and I'm going to confirm the transaction. And this is instant. So, well, instant, once the block is confirmed. That additional amount is staked right away. And you can see here that it's no longer displayed in red. So that updated right away. If you want to change your delegation, if you want to reduce the amount you have delegated, that is a two-step process. And the process would work as follows. You first press the minus icon to unbond funds. And it's a two-step process that involves requesting that you do this decrease in your amount, and then also an execution step. So you enter the amount that you'd like to reduce it by. Let's say we want to reduce it by 5. You can go ahead and press send. We'll confirm it here. In MetaMask, all I'm pressing is confirm in MetaMask. You're not missing any details in MetaMask. And once this transaction goes through, you will see a grayed out check mark. And it's grayed out because it's not eligible to be executed yet. However, I queued up a bunch of revoke and unbond, unbond meaning a reduce. So unbond refers to reducing by a certain amount, and revoke means completely stopping your delegation to that particular collator. So to repeat, revoke means everything for that collator, and unbond just means reduce by a certain amount. So this actually tells me in 3 hours, this unbond request will be eligible to be executed. And it is grayed out, so I can't click on anything right now. But if you do hover over it, you'll see the exact round at which it's able to be executed. And you can see the round here is round 4529. And you can see at which round you'll be eligible to execute this. So when you're ready to execute an unbond, it'll appear like this: execute request. And you just go ahead and press confirm in MetaMask. And then you'll see the amount appear back in your free balance. And the same thing for revoke. If you wanted to completely revoke a delegation, you would just go ahead and press the circle with a line through it to revoke that delegation. It is a two-step process. Again, as before, it'll be the same. You're initiating one transaction, and then you would want to come back to actually execute that. Now, there is something important to mention. And an essential design of the parachain staking palette is that anybody can actually execute a revoke or an unbond request that's eligible to be executed. This is a very interesting concept, and it's important that you understand this concept to fully understand how staking in Moonbeam works. So if you have a stake that's locked and you haven't initiated a revoke or an unbond, nobody can reduce your stake without your knowledge. However, if you do have a revoke such as this one right here, PS1, if you have a revoke that's executable, so this means that you've initiated a request to revoke or unbond, and only you can initiate that request. But once you've done that request, then anybody can execute it, as long as it's eligible. So in the case of Moonriver, this exit delay period is about 2 days. In the case of Moonbeam, it's about 7 days. And this amount of time is a period of blocks. And block production can vary. So it varies not just because of Moonbeam or Moonriver, but it also varies because of the relay chain. So in the case of Moonriver and Kusama, Moonriver blocks have a book time, so to speak, of 12 seconds. That's the target. And if you go to a website like Block Scout, so if I go to Block Scout Moonriver, you'll see, and this just happens because I need to clear the cookies or something. If you go to Block Scout Moonriver, you'll see that you can see an estimate. So let me go ahead and actually clear the cookies so that this works. Because I really want to show. Oh, come on. Okay, I can show this on a different page. Let me pull it up. Okay, yes. So I'll start sharing over here. Okay, we can see an average block time of 14.7 seconds. You can see this here on Moonriver Block Scout. And so if you were to calculate the exact amount of time, then it would vary just a little bit. Let's see how we're doing on time. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and put them in the Ask a Question box. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about optimizing a bond and optimizing a delegation. So I'm going to actually start here from scratch. I wanted to show you what it's like to go ahead and connect your wallet from the beginning. So I wanted to highlight that we have many different options for wallets that you can use with apps.moonbeam.network. It's not just MetaMask. We have Nova Wallet, Subwallet, Talisman, and Wallet Connect. So Wallet Connect will allow you to connect just about any compatible wallet that's on your phone. And you can very easily use a wallet that's on your phone instead of a browser extension. Talisman is a browser extension designed for the Substrate ecosystem. It's also compatible with EVM accounts, so it works seamlessly with Moonbeam and Moonriver. And likewise for Subwallet. Oh, is it Block Scout or Block Scan? It is Block Scout. Excuse me. And this was just to show you that it shows the average block time, and it's kind of a technicality. But all I wanted to show you is that if you wanted to calculate, down to the minute, when is my stake going to be available to be unlocked, you could say, you can go through the calculation steps, and we can actually do that right now. So for Moonriver, let's go through the steps. So a round is 600 blocks on Moonriver, and it takes approximately 2 hours typically. But to unbond, you're going to have to wait 24 rounds. So we're going to say 600 blocks times 24 rounds equals 14,400 blocks. And then we could get a second estimation. So if we multiply that times 14.8 seconds, you get 200,000 something seconds. And then if we divide that by 3,600, or the number of seconds in an hour, then we arrive at 59.2 hours. So that's a little over 48 hours. It's a bit over the window, but that allows you to calculate, an estimate of exactly when you'll be able to unbond your funds. So I was talking a little bit about Subwallet and the other wallet options that are here. So Subwallet is a Web3 wallet for both Polkadot and meaning Substrate style accounts, as well as it supports EVM accounts. So this is a browser extension. You can use Subwallet to stake. And another cool feature is that you can actually stake directly within Subwallet. You don't have to visit apps.moonbeam.network. So Subwallet within the extension will show you all of the collators. It'll show you information like the minimum bond in order to start earning rewards. And it will show you the name of the collator, whether they're active or not. It'll show you all that information. So that's quite cool. Another option you have is Nova Wallet. And Nova Wallet is an iOS and Android application. And you can also stake directly from within Nova Wallet without connecting to apps.moonbeam.network. So Nova Wallet will show you all the collators. They'll show you the minimum bond that you need to start earning rewards right away. And it's very fun. And so I highly recommend that you check it out. And I also want to talk about MetaMask and MetaMask Mobile. So we've been demonstrating here on desktop with the MetaMask Chrome extension, but you can also use MetaMask Mobile. And apps.moonbeam.network will work if you use the in-app browser, for MetaMask. So apps.moonbeam.network is mobile compatible. And so if you're familiar with a mobile wallet, a lot of mobile wallets just have a browser built in, so you don't have to switch between like Chrome and then go back to MetaMask. You can stay within the app, within MetaMask, and it allows you to do things, not just stake, but you can also go to SolarBeam, SolarFlare. You can go to StellaSwap. You can go to all these different DEXs, and you can do trades and stuff from your within your mobile wallet. So Ayo Deji asks, what about stake slashing? So stake slashing. Moonbeam and Moonriver do not currently have slashing. This is something that could be added at some point in the future, but there is currently no slashing that exists. So we talked about the exit delay period. We talked about how that exit delay period is just about 7 days in Moonbeam. It's about 2 days in Moonriver, but because of block production speeds, it could vary just a bit. I want to head into the list of collators real quickly, and I just wanted to cover a little bit about how you would sort of choose a collator and how you would optimize your stake. So let's head into the collator list. We'll manage delegations. We'll select a collator. Okay, so we have a huge list of collators, and this list of collators is sorted from effective bonded amount, from lowest effective bonded amount to highest effective bonded amount. And a lot of people have the question, how do I choose a collator? One of the ways is to go ahead and join the Discord. We have Meet the Collators channel, both for Moonbeam and Moonriver. And collators are posting in there, telling you about themselves, telling you about their setup. If you want to learn about the technical details, I'm sure they're happy to discuss that. And it's cool to also get to know the collators. The collators have been an integral part of the Moonbeam and Moonriver community since the start. Many of them were actually running testnet nodes. So they were running collator nodes on testnet. They're spending a lot of money to have a nice server and just participating on a testnet. So they have a passion. They understand the technical complexities of running a node. And so, I highly recommend that you get to know the collators and choose them perhaps in Discord. Now, if you said, I don't want to go to the Discord, like I just want to pick one from a list, how do I pick, right? And so the fastest way, if you don't know, if you're brand new, is you can just pick a collator in the middle of the list. And that might be, one of your best options if you're new and you want to quickly get started staking, is you can just pick a collator in the middle of the list. So let's talk a little bit about the dynamics. Why do I mention, middle of the list? Well, if you scroll down to the bottom of the list, you'll have a collator that has the most effective amount bonded. And when you have a higher effective amount bonded, then with a simple, proportion, or a simple, divide your stake by the collator's total effective amount bonded, your stake is going to represent a lower piece of that pie. So you're going to earn commensurately lower rewards than if you chose a collator closer to the bottom of this list, or depending on how you're looking at it here, meaning bottom of effective bonded amount. If you choose a collator that has a lower effective bonded amount, then your delegation is going to represent a bigger piece of that pie, and thus you're going to earn more rewards. Okay, so one thing to keep in mind, though, is that if a collator is near the bottom of the list, there's a lot of shuffling that takes place. And so collators might go from active pool to waiting pool, and if your collator moves to the waiting pool, then you won't be earning rewards. Something that's important to keep in mind is that you might say, like, okay, I'm just going to pick, the collator here, and then if my collator goes to the waiting pool, then no problem, I'll just unbond, and then I'll move to another one. And you can certainly do that. Just something to keep in mind is that during this exit delay period, which is about 7 days in Moonbeam, you are not earning staking rewards. So while you're waiting to switch to a new collator, you won't be earning rewards during that time period. And so if you don't want to frequently check in on your stake, it would probably make sense to choose a collator that's closer to the middle of this list. Another thing I wanted to point out is that you don't have to log in every day and check your stake or anything like that. I'll show you in just a couple of minutes how you can monitor your stake via email alerts and getting notified in case there are any important changes. So I have a couple FAQs that I wanted to cover that kind of came up in the Discord, that come up, in the Telegram from time to time. And so I want to make sure that I cover those. And then we'll take a look at a couple tools that you can use to monitor your stake and monitor the collator pool. So a question that we commonly get is, do my rewards auto compound? And the answer is no. Rewards accumulate to your free balance, which means you're free to use them in any way that you see fit. And you can always restake them at any time. Let's talk about a little more. Let's see. Okay, we talked about slashing. We spoke about, let's talk about a risk or a clarification. So what happens if a collator goes offline? So let's say a collator's node is running and there's a power outage or something in the server, and it just shuts down. So if that collator is no longer producing blocks, you won't earn rewards for the period that the collator is not producing blocks. So the other important consideration to keep in mind is that if an incident happens and then a collator switches over to a backup node, no big deal. But let's say that for whatever reason that doesn't happen and the collator stays offline. Most likely some of the other delegators are going to see that. They're going to say, hey, I didn't get any rewards from the last round. Like, what's going on? And they might revoke or reduce their nomination from that collator, in which case the collator could get pushed from the active to the waiting pool. In which case, if you were bonded to that collator, you would no longer earn rewards until they're back, both producing blocks, meaning they're well, they would have to have two things that would happen. They would have to go from the waiting back to the active pool, and they would have to ensure that the node is up and running and able to be producing blocks. Okay, so now let's take a look at tools to monitor our stake. So I want to open up Web3 Go, and I'm going to change my screen here real quick to another screen that I have up. Okay, so Web3 Go, if you just search on Google for, you can just search Web3 Go Moonbeam. And if we go here, you can see here that we can click on important links. I just wanted to show you how to get to this page. So if you press Web3 Go Moonbeam Staking, continue to external site. Okay, we can see some very helpful information about staking. We can see a list of all the collators and their rank. Rank meaning how are they sorted by effective amount bonded. And you can see an estimate for rewards rate and things like that. But we're most interested in, let's say, keeping track of our stake. So how do we keep track of our stake? How do we keep track of collators? So one step that you could take is you can connect your wallet here. And I have a MetaMask pop-up. I'm just going to connect my wallet. And it's asking me to switch to the Moonbeam network, which is just fine. And you can see here that there's a little bell. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so that everybody can see my screen. Okay, how's that? That might be a little too far. Okay, so you can see this little bell right here. If you press the bell, you can ask to be notified about your stake. And your stake meaning whatever your wallet address is here. So if your stake is on another account somewhere else, you probably want to switch to that account before you set up these notifications. So if I wanted to be notified, I can specify an address to receive emails. And we don't need to do this right now. But actually, we can go ahead and set this up. So let's say we wanted to receive test notifications for a particular collator at test@moonbeam.foundation. Go ahead and confirm this. And if we scroll down, next to each collator, let's say that you're bonded here to Mission Control Polkadot. If you wanted to receive notifications about your collator, you can just press plus. So I'll go ahead and press plus here. And I'm subscribed to now receive alerts about this collator. And you'll receive email alerts that say things like your collator is close to the bottom. And I believe the threshold for Web3 Go that Web3 Go uses is 10%. So if your collator's at the bottom 10%, you'll just get notified, say, hey, something to keep an eye on. Now, you don't have to be bonded to this particular collator. You could just choose to maybe have like 5 collators on your list and say, I want to keep track of all of them. And so you can add them to your list. So let's take a look at the My Stake tab. So I have the account that I delegated with, and I actually want to go to Moonriver Web3 Go. Let's look at that one. And we'll head over to My Stake, and we'll paste this wallet address. And this is what we just chose to stake. Now you'll see here, let's see. Oh, the collator rank is below 64, so it's in the bottom 10%. Yep, this is exactly what we were mentioning before, is that if your collator is towards the bottom, you'll have a little alert here warning you about that. For reward history, we can see the amount that we have bonded. We can see we haven't received any rewards yet because we just bonded to this collator minutes ago, so we haven't received any rewards yet. But let's take a look if we wanted to see from a Moonbeam collator or a Moonbeam delegation. I did find a random address. This is just a random delegator's address. I have no idea who this is. Let me go here to My Stake. We'll paste this in here, and we can search. If we search, we can see who they are bonded to. We can also see the total stake of the collator. We can see their rank. You can see there's a little star here just showing that they're one of the top ones by total stake. So if you wanted to, optimize your rewards, if you saw this star, you might actually want to take a second look and reconsider, do I want to be at a collator that's more in the middle and maybe not at the top? So if we click on reward history, we can see some information about rewards received from each round. So in each round, you can see the balance of Glimmer rewards. You can also see total reward information and total amount bonded at the top. So that wraps it up for the Web3 Go demo. I have one more demo to show, and that is Moonbeam Tools. So we have a GitHub repository here called Moonbeam Tools. And this includes a variety of tools to monitor the collator pool and delegators and many different things. So you can install it by using these commands. I prefer to do it a little bit more old school, and I just want to clone this repo. So I'm going to head to my terminal. So I just need to switch to terminal. And let's make sure everybody can see. Okay, cool. So we have a folder that I created just for this, and let's go ahead and clone this repository. After we've cloned the repo, let's go ahead and open it up. And we'll do a quick npm install, make sure that we have everything installed that we need. Okay, and that's looking good. So let's go ahead and head into SRC. And we can see a folder named Tools. So we'll head into the Tools folder. We can see a couple different tools here. And the one that we're interested in is list collator candidates. So it does take one parameter. We need to provide the name of the network that we'd like. So I'm going to run this with TS node. And I'm going to say TS node list collator candidates. And we're going to specify -- network. And we can specify Moonbeam for this one. This will take a couple seconds to run. It's doing a lot of different requests right now, so it'll take a little bit of time to run. But once this comes back, we will see a huge amount of information. So this will tell us, here we go. I'm going to adjust the panel just so that hopefully everybody can see it clearly. Might be zoomed in a little bit too much. It's tough to kind of display this in a format that everybody can see it. Okay. And let me zoom in a little bit. There we go. Okay, how's that? How's that? I want everybody to be able to see this, but without it being like overly zoomed in. Okay. So this tells us a lot of information. We can see the name of the collator, the amount of delegators that they have, and we can also see the amount of pending revokes that they have. So I just want to talk a little bit about what this delegator list looks like. So in yellow, the number of delegators are displayed in yellow to represent that there are some that are not earning rewards. You can see for 14, for these two collators, they're only 14 and 6 respectively. So in that case, everybody is earning rewards for that particular collator, so they don't need to worry. We can see the amount of Glimmer delegations, and then we can see the amount revocable. So revocable means that anybody can execute this revoke for this particular collator. And when we start to get up, and this is something that's possible right now, so you don't need to wait. You can execute this revoke immediately. If that number is displayed in yellow, it's just meant to symbolize a larger number. And if it's displayed in red, again, it's meant to display a huge amount that can be revoked currently. We also see a 1-day revoke and a 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and a 7-day revoke. So respectively, these indicate that in that period of time, a certain amount of stake is eligible to be revoked. Now, these revokes could be canceled by the original delegator at any given time. That's just fine. But this is a great way to look at kind of, the forecast of what is available to be revoked. And you can see a pending amount here. Pending includes the entire list of pending revokes just summed up. And we can also see here in red, we can see collators that are in the waiting pool. And so that's the list collator candidates tool. This tool is public, and you can get the link from the Moonbeam Tools GitHub repo. We could also run this for Moonriver as well. But given that we're at time, I do want to stop right here to keep everything on time. And I want to mention a few things. Thank you so much to everybody for coming to this crowdcast. And you may be watching this on YouTube later. So if you have any questions at all, please reach out to us in Discord. I know you might want to leave questions on the YouTube video, but it's maybe you might not get an answer quite as quickly there. So head to discord.gg/moonbeam. We're happy to answer any follow-up questions that you have about staking. And we also have a number of guides. So if you want to watch a quick video, we have a 5-minute how to stake Glimmer video, how to stake Mover video, and we also have written guides as well. So thank you so much, everyone. And I look forward to seeing you in the next workshop.